Detroit, Michigan. A city built on steel and sweat, a city that birthed something the world wasn't ready for.
I know you wanna leave me, but
From a small two-story house on West Grand Boulevard, a man named Berry Gordy took $800, borrowed from his family, and built a machine that changed music forever. They called it Motown. They called it the sound of young America. And between the 1960s and the 80s, that sound crossed every border, broke every barrier, and made the entire world get up and dance. This is not just a countdown. This is a story. 10 songs, 10 moments, 10 times Motown stopped the clock. Number 10, I Want You Back. The Jackson 5, 1969. Number 10, and we start with the song that announced an era. The year is 1969. 5 brothers from Gary, Indiana, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and the youngest one, an 11-year-old boy named Michael, walk into the Motown machine, and nothing is ever the same again.
But someone wanna pick you from the bunch. One glance was all it.
Here's the story most people don't know. I Want You Back was never written for the Jackson 5. It started as a song called I Wanna Be Free, written for Gladys Knight. But Berry Gordy heard the demo, and something clicked. He pulled in a new writing team he called the Corporation. Freddie Perrin, Phonce Mizell, Deke Richards, and Gordy himself. They rewrote the whole thing. Gordy wanted it to feel like a young kid desperately begging for a second chance. He told the writers, think Frankie Lyman, think young, think raw. And then Michael opened his mouth. Freddie Perrin later admitted he wasn't sure an 11-year-old could hit the high E-flat the song demanded. He hit it. He hit every note like he'd been singing it his whole life. I Want You Back was released on October 7th, 1969. By January 1970, it was number 1. The Jackson 5 became the first act in history to debut with 4 consecutive number 1 singles. Notice that opening piano glissando, played by Perrin and Mizell themselves, and underneath it, that rolling bass line that just pulls you in. 6 million copies sold worldwide, sampled over 90 times in hip-hop alone. Pitchfork called the chorus possibly the best chord progression in pop music history. But if this one announced a legend, what comes next is a legend in every sense of the word. Number 9, Super Freak, Rick James, 1981. And we're about to turn the temperature way up. Rick James, Buffalo, New York. A man who'd spent over a decade trying to make it, running from the Navy, recording failed sessions, writing songs for other people.
now that girl is pretty wild now.
And then, one night in 1981, almost as an afterthought, he changed everything. Here's what Rick James told Musician magazine in 1983.
She says that I'm her all-time favorite.
I was in the studio and everything else for the album was done. I just put Super Freak together really quickly. I wanted a silly song.
She's a super freak, she's super freaky.
A silly song. He said he wanted something with a new wave texture. He wanted white audiences to have something to dance to. He even added what he called an operatic vocal structure. That deep, dramatic opening that hits you before anything else. Now here's the twist. The song almost never got played on radio. Rick brought in his friend Alonzo Miller, a music director at an L.A. radio station, who heard the early version and told him straight, "Rick, those lyrics are too raunchy. Stations won't touch it."
It's such a freaky scene.
They cleaned it up. Miller helped tone it down just enough. And then Miller turned around and played it at his own station. And here's another layer most people miss.
She's alright. She's alright.
When you hear those background vocals on Super Freak, those are the Temptations, real Temptations. Otis Williams, Melvin Franklin, Richard Street on a Rick James funk record. In fact, Rick even shouts it mid-song, "Temptations, sing!"
She's a super freak, she's super freaky.
The song hit #1 on the R&B charts, and then in 1990, MC Hammer sampled that iconic bass line for "You Can't Touch This."
It's alright with me.
Rick James sued. They settled. James got songwriting credit and his only Grammy Award. MTV refused to play the video when it first came out. Rick James publicly called it racism.
Special girl. From her head down to
He wasn't wrong. This was Motown's only true superstar of the 1980s, a man who invented punk funk and dared the world to keep up.
she's alright. She's alright.
If that was Neon and Fire, what comes next is something deeper.
I really like to taste her. Every time we meet.
Listen, 90% of you watching right now aren't subscribed yet. If these stories are blowing your mind, imagine what you're missing. Hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and join the 200,000 R&B fans who never miss a Groove Lens upload.
Number 8, Dancing in the Street, Martha and the Vandellas, 1964. A song that started as a party anthem and became a revolution. The summer of 1964. Marvin Gaye and his producer Mickey Stevenson are driving through the streets of Detroit. They see kids of different races jumping in and out of the water from an open fire hydrant, laughing, soaking, dancing. Stevenson turns to Gaye and says, "That's a song." They brought in songwriter Ivy Jo Hunter, and the three of them built a track that was originally meant for Stevenson's wife, Kim Weston. But then Martha Reeves, who at the time was still working as a secretary at Motown, sang a quick demo vocal so Kim could hear how the melody went. The demo was so good they scrapped the original plan entirely. Martha sang the real version on June 19, 1964. Second take. Pause, because the machine wasn't rolling on the first one. She said later, "I thought I nailed the first one, but they said the tape wasn't on. I was so disappointed." She nailed the second one too. The song peaked at #2 on the Billboard Hot 100, blocked from #1 by Manfred Mann. It hit the top 5 in the UK. But the real story is what happened next. That same summer, the Civil Rights Act was signed into law. Racial tension was boiling in cities across America. And when black activist H. Rap Brown started playing Dancing in the Street at demonstrations, some radio stations pulled the record entirely, afraid It was a call to riot. Martha Reeves insisted in public that it was a party song, but she privately understood exactly what it meant. Till she once said, "We couldn't stand on street corners and sing because the police would attack you. Dancing in the street is all of that to me." The song is now in the Library of Congress National Recording Registry. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999. Mick Jagger and David Bowie covered it in 1985 for Live Aid. Van Halen covered it. The Mamas and the Papas covered it. But nothing touches the original. If this one made the streets shake, the next one made the world weep. Number 7, Stop, In the Name of Love, The Supremes, 1965.
Before you break my heart.
And we are talking about the most successful female group in the history of American popular music, The Supremes. Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, and Florence Ballard.
Baby, baby, I'm aware of where you go.
3 young women from the Brewster Douglas housing projects of Detroit. By 1965, they had already scored 4 consecutive #1 hits produced by Holland, Dozier, and Holland. And then came this.
I watch you walk down the street.
Stop, In the Name of Love was written by H.D.H. in a single afternoon, which for them was completely normal.
Baby, baby, think it over.
Lamont Dozier has said they wrote 2 or 3 songs per day at the height of their power. The story behind the famous choreography? Pure accident. During rehearsals, Diana Ross extended her hand in a stop gesture, and the group snapped into a synchronized move that became one of the most iconic images in pop history. The song hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1965, their 5th consecutive #1.
Stop in the name of love.
Now consider that, 5 in a row. In the same Beatlemania era when British acts were dominating American radio.
Before you break my heart.
H.D.H. wrote every one of them. Brian Holland crafting the track, Lamont Dozier writing the top lines, Eddie Holland shaping the lyrics. Listen to how that drum beat announces itself. Urgent, almost military.
Time before you run to hell.
And then Diana's voice cuts in, not pleading, commanding. She's not asking him to stop. She's telling him. The Supremes would go on to have 12 #1 singles in total. No other female group in history has matched that.
Think it over, baby.
If that was power dressed in elegance, what comes next is power dressed in pain.
My arms and rush.
Number 6, Reach Out, I'll Be There, The Four Tops, 1966. And if you thought Motown was just smooth and sweet, this will correct that immediately. Holland, Dozier, and Holland, the greatest songwriting team in Motown history, sit down to write something different. Lamont Dozier said he wanted the song to feel like a journey of emotions with sustained tension, like a bolero. He alternated the keys, a minor Russian feel in the verses and a major gospel feel in the chorus. He told Eddie Holland they were inspired by Bob Dylan. They wanted Levi Stubbs to shout-sing the lyrics the way Dylan would drag a phrase out. And then they did something cruel. They pushed Levi Stubbs to the absolute top of his vocal range and told him to stay there. Levi complained. He said it didn't sound right. And he said he didn't like the way he sounded at the top.
To love and comfort you.
Eddie Holland told him, "When you struggle up there, it sounds like someone hurting. That's exactly what we want."
I can tell the way you hate.
Duke Fakir of the Four Tops later said, "Every time they thought Levi was at the top, he would reach a little further until you could hear the tears in his voice." The Four Tops recorded it in 2 takes and practically forgot about it. They assumed it was just an album track. Berry Gordy heard it and smelled a #1. He was right.
Ain't good enough. Just stay.
Reach Out, I'll Be There hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in October 1966. It was Motown's second ever #1 in the UK, and it stayed there for 3 weeks. The piccolo on the opening intro, played by a 14-year-old girl named Danya Hartwick in her very first session at Motown. The Library of Congress preserved it in 2022. Rolling Stone ranked it number 206 of the 500 greatest songs of all time.
To cherish and care for you.
Phil Spector once called it Black Dylan, and Levi Stubbs, who hated how he sounded, delivered one of the most emotionally devastating vocals in the history of recorded music.
I can tell the way you hate.
If that grabbed your soul, the next song owned it. Number 5, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, 1967. And this one hits differently when you know the full story. Ashford and Simpson, Nicholas Ashford and Valerie Simpson, wrote this song before they even joined Motown. It was a declaration, a vow. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you. The song was given to Marvin Gaye and a young woman named Tammy Terrell, a singer with a voice so warm it felt like sunlight through a window. The two of them had chemistry that jumped off the speakers, a back and forth that felt like a real love story. It hit number 3 on the Hot 100 and number 5 on the R&B charts in 1967. But here's where the story turns. In October 1967, just a few months after the song became a hit, Tammy Terrell collapsed on stage in Marvin Gaye's arms at Hampton-Sydney College in Virginia. She had a brain tumor. She was 22 years old. Marvin Gaye was devastated. By some accounts, he never fully recovered from losing her. He became depressed. He questioned whether his success deserved to be celebrated. He later said of his biggest hits during that period, "It didn't seem real. I didn't deserve it." Tammy Terrell died on March the 16th, 1970. She was 24 years old. Diana Ross later recorded a solo version of the song in 1970 that became her first solo #1 hit. But the Gaye-Terrell duet, that original impossibly joyful recording, is the one that endures. It is difficult to hear without feeling both things at once. The joy of the song, the tragedy behind it. If that was love at its most bittersweet, the next song is Motown at its most defiant. Number 4, What's Going On? Marvin Gaye, 1971. And we slow everything way down, because this one didn't just make the world dance, this one made the world think. It's May 15th, 1969. Ronaldo Benson, bass singer of the Four Tops, is on a tour bus pulling into Berkeley, California. He steps off the bus and sees police beating anti-war protesters at a place called People's Park. A peaceful crowd, young people being beaten.
To bring some loving. Oh.
Benson turns to songwriter Al Cleveland and says, "What in the hell is happening here?" That question became a song. Benson took it to his group, the Four Tops. They turned it down. Too political. He took it to Joan Baez. She passed.
Talk to me, honey, so you can see.
Then he played it to Marvin Gaye over a game of golf. And Marvin, who had been receiving letters from his brother Frankie describing the horror of the Vietnam War, felt it as he told Benson, "Let me take this." He rewrote the melody, he rewrote the lyrics, he added strings, he layered his own voice in harmony with itself, an accident that became his signature sound. And then he called Berry Gordy. Gordy was on vacation in the Bahamas. He told Marvin, and we know this for a fact, "That is the worst thing I ever heard in my life." Gordy hated it. He thought it would destroy Motown's safe, polished, everybody loves it image. Marvin Gaye went on strike. He refused to record anything until Gordy released the song.
What's going on?
Gordy's vice president eventually pressed 100,000 copies and sent them to radio stations without Gordy's knowledge. The phones went crazy. Within a week, they pressed another 100,000. The song sold over 2 million copies. It became the fastest-selling Motown single in history.
What's going on? Wanna know what's going on?
It peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Soul Singles chart for 5 weeks. Rolling Stone named What's Going On the number 4 greatest song of all time in 2004. In 2021, they moved it up to number 6. Nelson Mandela quoted the album's lyrics at a rally in Detroit the year he was released from prison. Benson said of what Marvin did to the song, "We measured him for the suit, and he tailored the hell out of it." If that was the soul of a generation, the next song is the cry of a generation.
I wanna know.
Number 3, My Girl, The Temptations, 1964.
On a cloudy day.
And we are in the presence of pure Motown royalty. Picture this, it's 1964.
I've got sunshine.
The Temptations are on a tour bus with the Miracles rolling through America on the Motown Revue. Smokey Robinson is sitting backstage at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, and every day between shows, 4 or 5 shows a day, he walks the Temptations down to the stage piano and teaches them a song he's been writing. A song he wrote for one voice. His name was David Ruffin, a raw, demanding baritone that Smokey described as mellow and gruff. A sleeping giant, he called him. Smokey told Berry Gordy, "I knew David had that voice. The kind that says, 'Come here, girl, let me love you.' But I wanted him to sing something sweet, as something the girls could just swoon over." So he wrote My Girl. He co-wrote it with fellow miracle Ronald White, inspired in part by his own wife, Claudette. But Smokey has always been clear. He wrote it for the Temptations. Were it not for the Temptations and David Ruffin, I never would have written My Girl. The track was recorded at Hitsville, USA on September 25th, 1964. James Jamerson played that immortal bass line. Robert White of the Funk Brothers played the ascending guitar figure that opens the song, one of the most recognized guitar phrases in all of popular music. I've got a sweeter song. It reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on March 6, 1965. The Temptations' first #1 hit. The first time Gordy Records ever topped the Hot 100, Berry Gordy called Smokey into his office and handed him a check, a $1,000 producer's bonus. Gordy said, "You got a smash hit." Smokey said, "For what?" Gordy said, "My Girl on the Temptations. It's not #1 yet, but it's most definitely going there." Inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1998, preserved in the Library of Congress in 2017. Smokey Robinson calls it his international anthem. He says he can be in a country where no one speaks English, and the moment that bass line plays, the crowd erupts. Before the first lyric, before David Ruffin opens his mouth, they already know. If that was sunshine on a cloudy day, the next song is a masterpiece that almost never existed. #2, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye, 1968. And we are now in the presence of the biggest selling Motown single of its era. The story behind this song is almost unbelievably strange. I bet you're wondering how I knew. Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong wrote it in 1966. The Miracles recorded it first. Berry Gordy said no, too bluesy, not strong enough. It took me by surprise, I must say. Then Marvin Gaye recorded it. Gordy said no again. Whitfield, furious, gave it to Gladys Knight and the Pips. Their version was up-tempo, gospel-soaked, powerful. It hit #1 on R&B and #2 on the Hot 100 in 1967. A year later, Gaye's version was quietly placed on his album In the Groove. A Chicago disc jockey named E. Rodney Jones started spinning the album version on WVON. You could have told me. The phones went insane. Berry Gordy was finally convinced to release it as a single. It entered the Hot 100 on November 23, 1968, at an astonishing number 34, the highest new entry that week. 3 weeks later, it was #1. It stayed there for 7 weeks. Marvin Gaye's Grapevine became the biggest-selling Motown single in history at that point in time. It was the only song to hit #1 on the R&B chart 3 times. Gladys Knight in 1967, Marvin Gaye in 1968. and Roger Troutman in 1981.
Please tell me, dear, do you play?
Now listen to what makes this version different. Whitfield said it in a slower, more mysterious tempo. Gaye's vocal is haunted, not just sad, haunted.
Would you be my baby?
One critic said it best. It's a pop song reimagined as a nervous breakdown, the pulsating drums, the minor key darkness, the way Marvin sings like the woman's already gone before he even finishes the first verse.
Oh, I heard through the grapevine.
In 2014, the British public voted it the nation's favorite Motown song. In 1985, a Levi's commercial brought it back to life in the UK. It reached number 8.
Honey, well.
14 years after Gaye first sang it. If this was paranoia wrapped in soul, number 1 is fury wrapped in love. Number 1, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, The Temptations, 1966.
If I have to beg, plead for your sympathy.
And we end where Motown was always heading, with raw emotion, unbridled need, and a voice that refused to be ignored. David Ruffin, one of the greatest voices in the history of American music.
If I have to cry to keep you, I don't mind weeping.
Norman Whitfield and Edward Holland wrote Ain't Too Proud to Beg in 1966 specifically for Ruffin's voice. A voice that Smokey Robinson described as demanding, like it says, "Come here, girl, let me love you."
If you don't keep by my side.
The song is a man on his knees, not broken, defiant. He's not ashamed to beg, he owns it. It hit number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the R&B chart in 1966. Aretha Franklin covered it. The Rolling Stones covered it. Linda Ronstadt covered it. But the reason it works, the reason it always worked, is that David Ruffin makes you believe every single syllable. This wasn't performance. This was testimony. Notice how Whitfield and Holland build the track. That punching rhythm section, the horn stabbing on the 2 and 4, the way Ruffin's voice rises with the drums like he's fighting the music itself. The Temptations were already stars by 1966. This made them legends. And 50 years later, when that intro drops, in a car, at a wedding, at a cookout at your auntie's house, everybody knows what's coming. Everybody feels it. That is the power of Motown.
I don't mind weeping if you don't keep by my.
That is the power of an $800 loan, a small house on West Grand Boulevard, and a man named Berry Gordy who believed that music could make the world one.
Baby, please don't leave me, girl.
10 songs, 10 stories, 1 sound. This is Groove Leans. And we keep the record spinning.